morning, everyone. Good morning, good morning. Thank you all for coming. Earlier this week, we announced criminal charges against individuals trafficking in so-called ghost guns. Today, we're opening another front in our efforts to address the growing threat of untraceable firearms. We're announcing the results of a separate undercover investigation into companies that make and sell ghost guns. And as part of this effort, we're announcing the first ever lawsuit by a state against a ghost gun seller. And we're calling on Congress and other states to follow our lead to close loopholes that have allowed this industry to grow. And before I get into the details, let me just reiterate why ghost guns are so dangerous. As you all know, New Jersey requires that a person pass a background check before he or she can purchase a firearm. And these checks serve an important purpose. They ensure that dangerous people who we all agree shouldn't have firearms, can't get them. Felons, fugitives, terrorists, domestic abusers. Now, ghost gun companies thought they found a loophole to this background check requirement. They thought that if they sold their guns in multiple pieces and showed the buyer how to assemble those guns, then the buyer could skip the background check process entirely. By the same token, these companies thought that if they sold the guns in parts, then somehow they didn't need to print serial numbers on these weapons, even though these serial numbers help law enforcement trace the gun if it's ever used in a crime. Of course, these arguments aren't just dangerous, they're just flat out wrong. And this past November, Governor Murphy signed a law making it illegal to build or to buy a ghost gun in New Jersey. In light of this new law, our first priority was to prevent these companies from selling into New Jersey. Last year, we sent cease and desist letters to the companies, laying out clearly how their guns violate our laws, and warning them that if they didn't stop, we'd see them in court. Now, some companies responded quickly, promising to stop selling into New Jersey. But we wanted to see what they would do when they thought no one was looking. So we conducted a series of undercover investigations. We directed our investigators to visit websites that we had identified as ghost gun sellers. And we asked them to try to purchase a gun and to see if the company would ship to New Jersey. Now, I'm pleased to report that in most cases, the ghost gun companies now comply with New Jersey law. A total of 15 companies based outside of New Jersey have agreed to block ghost gun sales into our state. For nearly all of them, New Jersey is the only state that they block. And as you can see on the charts to my sides, some companies have put warnings on their websites that they no longer ship to New Jersey. In some cases, even blaming our new law or the actions of our office. Others simply remove New Jersey from the list of available shipping addresses. Either way, our law and our letters are making New Jersey residents safer from the threat of ghost guns. But one company refuses to block New Jersey sales, even after we sent our cease and desist letters. So today, we're bringing a civil enforcement action against U.S. Patriot Armory, a ghost gun company based in California, for violating New Jersey's consumer protection laws. We're seeking the maximum civil penalties available, and we're seeking an order from the court ordering the company to stop making sales into New Jersey. As alleged in our complaint, U.S. Patriot Armory sold all the parts to make a fully operational AR-15 style rifle, and they sent it right to our undercover address here in New Jersey. We allege that the company did so without conducting a background check, without including a serial number, and without a warning that the gun we were buying was illegal in our state. As a result, we allege that U.S. Patriot Armory broke the law, and we intend to hold the company fully accountable. To our knowledge, this is the first time a state has ever brought a legal action against a ghost gun seller. And with today's action, we're showing gun manufacturers and sellers across the country that we're not afraid to use our civil enforcement authorities when they violate our consumer protection laws and put our residents at risk. But the truth is that New Jersey cannot solve the ghost gun problem alone. While our efforts are helping to end ghost gun sales here in New Jersey, we should be concerned that companies keep shipping 80% complete firearms to criminals, gang members, and other dangerous groups in other states, who, as we know, can and do traffic their weapons into New Jersey. We saw this firsthand on Monday when we announced criminal charges against individuals who allegedly trafficked in ghost guns. As the recordings in that investigation made clear, some criminals have gotten savvy to the new laws, and they seek to circumvent them by having ghost guns shipped to neighboring states. That's why I'm calling on Congress and our neighboring states to tackle ghost guns just like we did here in New Jersey. Now, let me be clear about one thing. This isn't about going after responsible gun owners. It's about common sense. No one, I repeat, no one needs an untraceable weapon. And no one should get a firearm without going through a background check process. With over 80% of our crime guns coming in from other states, we need partners in this fight. And in the meantime, we will continue to take action. So here's my message to the ghost gun industry. If you continue selling your dangerous and unlawful weapons in our state, we will come after you in court, just like we did with U.S. Patriot Armory. It's my pleasure now to turn the microphone over to the Director of the Division of Consumer Affairs, Paul Rodriguez, and he'll go through the details of our complaint, and after that, we'll answer your questions. Paul?
Thank you, General. In today's lawsuit, we allege that U.S. Patriot Armory sold ghost gun parts and kits to New Jersey residents that were illegal to possess in our state. Moreover, U.S. Patriot Armory failed to warn buyers that in New Jersey, it is a third-degree crime punishable by fines up to $15,000 and imprisonment of up to 5 years to purchase firearm parts with the purpose to manufacture a firearm without a serial number, and that possession of an unregistered assault firearm is a second-degree crime punishable by fines of up to $150,000 and a term of imprisonment of 5 to 10 years. What's more, U.S. Patriot Armory affirmatively made misrepresentations on their website, affirming that it was legal to own these weapons. They included statements such as, "Is it legal?" in all caps, "Yes," and that, quote, "because 80% lowers are not considered firearms by the ATF, they could ship ghost guns right to your front door with no firearms license required." These statements are false as to New Jersey residents. And worst of all, the company knew the truth, because the Attorney General Grewal, had sent a letter to the manufacturer on December 19th, 2018, informing them of New Jersey's new law. The letter cited the several laws the ghost gun company was violating, demanded they cease advertising and selling to New Jersey residents, and gave U.S. Patriot Armory 30 days to come into compliance. On Valentine's Day this year, after the 30-day period to come into compliance had expired, we, here at the division, conducted an undercover purchase of an AR-15 style 18-inch complete rifle build kit, along with some clearly marked component parts for a total of approximately $584. We purchased this untraceable military-style assault rifle with no serial number, without the need to undergo a criminal background check, and no license to possess such weapon. Just last week, the rifle kit arrived, as promised, with all of the components necessary to assemble this deadly and illegal weapon. We are alleging 2 counts of violation of the Consumer Fraud Act, including unconscionable commercial practices and deception, misrepresentations, and knowing omissions of material fact. We're alleging violations of the hazardous products regulations and the advertising regulations, each of which constitutes separate violations of the Consumer Fraud Act. Through this action, we're seeking a court order to force the company to stop selling these illegal guns in New Jersey. At the same time, we're demanding the maximum civil penalty for each violation laid out in the complaint, and there are many. These civil penalties include $10,000 for the first offense and $20,000 for each subsequent offense. We're also seeking disgorgement of profits, attorney's fees, and investigative costs. With today's actions, we're calling this company to account for their blatant disregard for the law and the safety of New Jersey consumers. In his December letter, the Attorney General warned that he would take legal action against the company if they continue to flout the law. Today, we are making good on that promise.
So with that, we'll take your questions about today's enforcement action.
Two questions.
Yes, sir.
A also mentions in your press release potential of jail time. Are you seeking that, and are you seeking additional information about any other kits that may have been sold, not just to your investigators, but to other consumers in New Jersey?
So today's action is a civil enforcement action. We do clearly have criminal tools available to us, which we used on Monday. Really, the two actions that we brought this week fit hand in glove. Today, we're going after a ghost gun company that flouted our laws, and we're using our civil enforcement tools to hold them accountable and to really hit them where it hurts in their financial pockets. And we're going to seek all the remedies that the director talked about. We're going to seek disgorgement and other remedies. And on Monday, we held accountable individuals who were flouting our laws by going out of state and bringing guns back in. In the future, we'll use all tools at our disposal to hold companies accountable if they continue to violate our laws.
What about the additional information part? Are you seeking if they shipped any other New Jersey residents?
So it's an enforcement action. We're in Superior Court. There'll be a discovery process, and we're going to get all the accounting here to see who they ship to. The violations are based, the penalties are based on each violation, and we'll hold them accountable for each and every violation where they flouted our laws.
The receiver of these goods, what's their position?
In this case, the receiver was us. So it was an undercover, yeah.
Let's say 100,000 people.
Yeah, it is unlawful under our laws. And we saw that on Monday when we brought an enforcement action against individuals who recognized, we brought a criminal action on Monday, and those individuals recognized that it would be illegal for them to purchase and assemble those ghost guns in our state, so they tried to go out of state and circumvent our laws, and we charged them criminally.
How would you gain access to their records to see who they shipped to? To see if they shipped to anybody in your state?
Sure. In this particular case, we're going to use the legal process that we've initiated with our complaint to get that information, and if it leads us to other enforcement actions, we'll follow the evidence wherever it leads.
Is this merely symbolic, or does this make a difference to the action?
I think it makes an important difference because we are holding companies accountable. 15 of them complied already. I think that is something that should also be noted. We sent cease and desist letters to companies. 15 complied with our law and are not selling ghost gun kits directly into New Jersey. A 16th company, this one, decided to flout our laws and continue to sell into our state, and we're bringing them to court to hold them accountable. And that's my message to anyone who tries to circumvent our laws to put these dangerous weapons in the hands of individuals in our state without the background check process. That's the danger here. And what we need, though, is a concerted effort, because as we saw on Monday, individuals are going to neighboring states. And so we need those neighboring states to close their loopholes. We need the federal government to close loopholes as well, so we can ensure that anyone who purchases a firearm does so through a legal process, through a background check process. And we believe in this state firmly that no one should have a firearm without going through a background check process. No one should have an untraceable firearm, particularly a military-style assault rifle, without going through any of those checks.
So can you explain exactly what steps a purchaser would have to take with the kit that you guys bought? What steps does that person have to take to have an operational weapon?
So I'm by no means an expert in assembling these weapons, but it is as simple as buying all the tools from the manufacturer. In some cases, the manufacturers have YouTube videos on how to put these together, what tools are needed, but some tools are needed, and a degree of expertise may be needed, but it's fairly simple based on the videos that I've seen for someone to follow it. And we saw that we had a fully production mill to make these guns in our South Jersey Lindenwold case, where an individual was producing them, on demand in that criminal case. So it's not, it doesn't require a particular skill or expertise, because as we've seen, these sales are going on all across the country, and these businesses are existing, and they have a customer base, and they put on YouTube step-by-step instructions on how to build them.
Considering,
New Jersey residents that may already have these things, is there an amnesty or buyback program for those that own them already?
That is something that we intend to follow up on. It is certainly, you can't have a firearm legally without a serial number, and that is something that people should be aware of. And if they are in possession of these weapons, I encourage them to reach out to local law enforcement to find a way to dispose of them.
considering this lawsuit is a first of its kind, are you worried that it may backfire and the new or New Jersey law might get struck down as you go through the legal process?
No, I'm not worried about that. We have implemented a number of reasonable gun safety measures, and we have been challenged in court repeatedly, and we have won repeatedly because what we're doing is taking sensible measures to ensure that people don't have untraceable firearms, that people go through a background check process, and I think there could be nothing more common sense than those two things.
One more question over here?
Yeah.
You said it earlier, I'm sorry, did you assemble this gun and it's in the office somewhere together with your son?
It was functional. We determined that, not in my office, but I believe through the state police, someone did that to make sure that it was an operational firearm. In our case that we announced on Monday, I could tell you that we ensured that all the firearms that we bought, in that case the ghost guns, were fully operational, and they fit the definition of assault weapons under our criminal statutes. I don't know the answer to that.
All right, Sean, last one.
Real quick, the 15 companies that you say have complied plus this company, are you aware of any other companies that currently make only class online?
So right now, given other pending ongoing investigations, we're just not going to offer additional comment on other manufacturers of ghost guns.
That is a compliance example or a bad, that's a compliance example, not a bad actor example,
It's
correct?
both.
Okay. Oh, okay.
It's both. It's compliance and it's also a potential bad actor in the sense that it's directing people to go out of state. And that's my other message, that all these manufacturers need to be responsible. And so if they need to know their customers, and if they see a spike in sales going from a customer who previously was in New Jersey, now having those guns shipped into Pennsylvania at a high rate, or if they see sales expanding in Pennsylvania now as a result of this, they've got to know their customers, and that's part of this problem that we have. When we recover these weapons, we can't trace them back to a manufacturer or to an individual at a crime scene, but clearly they have to be more responsible about knowing their customers, and we intend to hold them accountable if they fail in that regard as well.
And just simply, what is the danger of having a gun that has a serial number?
Again, the dangers of ghost guns is twofold. One is that it allows people to evade a background check process. So anyone, like we saw in our criminal case on Monday, individuals engaged in criminal activity, domestic abusers, others, dangerous people that we all agree shouldn't have firearms, can get them without going through a background check process. The second danger of it being untraceable is that when they're recovered at crime scenes, there's not a way for us to easily trace them back to the point of purchase or to the owner. And so, that's why I say it's incumbent on other states to follow suit. We have Adam Skaggs here from Gifford. They have been pushing this conversation in other states, and it's going to really take all these other states coming on board with similar laws to close these loopholes, as well as the federal government. So I want to thank them for being here this morning as well, and for their efforts in that regard.
Things are being shipped, are they federal laws being broken?
They're exploiting loopholes in federal laws by shipping them partially complete. And that's why our legislature stepped